So let's talk about the belief that we're going to address today that produces low staff morale. I've coined this belief as the let's all pretend belief. It's you can do anything you want to people and act like it never happened, and they are obligated to believe you because you said so. It's a thief of revenue. This unconscious belief is a revenue thief because it makes people quit. People leave companies because they're being mistreated by people in leadership who are afflicted by this belief, and it hurts the bottom line. People who are afflicted by this belief, you can do anything you want to people and act like it never happened, and they are obligated to believe you because you said so. They will verbally abuse a person 1 minute and speak to someone in an appropriate manner a few minutes later with no apology. They will put unrealistic expectations on staff and act as if the expectations are within people's job descriptions. For example, expecting people to work a 60-hour work week while being paid for 40 hours. People afflicted by this belief will neglect their job duties and act as if others are supposed to pull their weight and keep up with their own job duties and act like it's not happening. Like, this is not happening. I'm not doing your job and my job. No, I'm not. And I have to keep up with both. People afflicted by this belief will often call in sick. They call in sick often. I mean, like when they're not sick. Go on vacation after being off sick for a week and they weren't really sick. I'm talking about one of those weeks when they weren't really sick. And then they'll come back and be like, well, I'm on my vacation. See you in another week. And then they'll greet people when they come back all tan from their vacation and looking rested. They'll come back and greet people who've been pulling their weight with a hearty good morning, looking refreshed and well rested, while people that they're greeting are sitting at their desk with bags under their eyes because they've been working 70 and 80-hour work weeks, pulling their weight, and the person who likes to go on vacation and call in sick often, pulling their weight also. And it really becomes problematic when you're talking about people in leadership, because people who work under these people, they don't feel like they're able to challenge what's going on, but it's not like they're not aware. People afflicted by this belief will often neglect their job duties and then call a staff meeting to berate everyone for the problems that occurred due to their neglect. They don't take responsibility for what's going on. They just blame other people. So Dr. R. Joseph, who's a noted expert in the fields of neuroscience and psychology, he says there's a way out for people who have been programmed with these types of dysfunctional beliefs. He says they have to be able to scrutinize their own lives so as to recognize the maladaptive, self-destructive patterns they've been engaging in. And in a lot of cases, they need help from a professional like myself or some other professional who specializes in CBT, cognitive restructuring, or psychodynamic approach. He says that they also have to become educated about the alternatives available, meaning alternative ways of thinking and alternative behaviors. So here's a functional belief that challenges the dysfunctional belief that we're discussing today, which is you can do anything you want to people and act like it never happened, and they are obligated to believe you because you said so. So the functional belief says, if you mistreat people in your personal life or your professional life, it's adding insult to injury to act as if you are not doing what it is very obvious that you are doing. Many companies and organizations are experiencing high turnover rates because of abusive people in leadership positions. People don't have to accept verbal abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, or physical abuse to have a job. There are many employment opportunities and or entrepreneurial opportunities available for individuals. People don't have to work 60-hour work weeks if they are being paid for 40 hours. Staff don't have to watch you neglect your job duties, assume your responsibilities, keep up with their own work, and act like they are oblivious to what's happening. If you have been taught to abuse people as a business practice, it's time to unlearn that strategy. You are losing good people because you are mistreating them. They're warning others about you. Treat people right. It will improve your bottom line. Get some new mentors. And I say that because some people who use abuse as a business tactic, they've been mentored. Someone taught them to do that. So you need a new mentor. So here's some strategies for addressing behaviors associated with a dysfunctional belief. So for the behaviors of verbally abusing a person 1 minute and speaking to that person in an appropriate manner a few minutes later with no apology, learn how to use assertive communication as opposed to aggressive communication. So that may involve you taking some trainings on communication styles. Address problems, not symptoms, and you'll feel less frustrated. Because sometimes when a leader is verbally abusing someone, speaking to someone inappropriately, it's because they're frustrated. And a lot of times the frustration can be traced to problems that keep happening because the problems are never addressed. So they're frustrated about the symptoms of the problem instead of taking time to find a solution for the problem. If you speak to someone inappropriately, apologize and work hard not to do it again. And I make the point of saying work hard not to do it again, because if you keep verbally abusing people and apologizing, then you're operating out of another dysfunctional unconscious belief. You can continuously mistreat people as long as you apologize. So you have to work to change your communication style. For the behavior of putting unrealistic expectations on staff and acting as if the expectations are within people's job descriptions, treat people like human beings who are trading their time for money. It's not a club. We're not in junior high. It's like, this is a professional setting. People are trading their time for money. So they don't have to be abused, or they don't have to accept abuse and act like it's not happy because they want to be liked or fit in, with the popular people. I don't understand. I saw a quote somewhere, and I usually like to appropriately cite people that I quote, but I can't remember the source. But the quote was, "It's a difference between fighting for freedom and fighting for a chance to hold the whip." Like being abusive to staff, and then other people who are moving up in ranks in the company. You've created people who suffer with this belief. If they're in a leadership position, they create a culture of abusive business tactics. So others who are moving up the chain of command, who's being promoted, it's like they're being trained to get in a position where they can abuse other people. But that's hurting the company. It causes high turnover rates. People leave. There's some people who will stay and accept the abuse long term, but a lot of companies experience a huge amount of turnover because of abusive leaders, people in leadership positions being abusive. So reward people for going over and above during crunch time, because there are times when you do need to ask people to go over and above, but you need to reward them. If you don't reward them financially, do something, appreciation, comp time, something. People should be rewarded when they go over and above during crunch time. And then spread your shots. Ask different people to go over and above when needed. Don't keep asking the same 3 or 4 people to work, extra hours every week, and then everyone else leaves at the regularly scheduled time. For the behavior of neglecting your job duties and acting as if others are supposed to pull your weight and keep up with their job duties and act like it's not happening, do your job. You are getting paid to be a leader. Stop insulting people's intelligence. You know, I've seen this at companies. I'm a consultant. I've worked for different organizations, and I've seen leaders who suffer with these types. They don't suffer. They're a lot of them are not really suffering, who are afflicted by these types of dysfunctional beliefs. I've seen them receive awards for the output of their staff, but that's not what the award says. The award says, wow, your company has these awesome outputs. And so here we're going to give you this award. And so the people who's working 60 and 70-hour weeks that are doing their job and the leader's job and overwhelmed and exhausted and hurt and angry, they have to suffer the indignation of sitting at an award ceremony and watch this leader who's being irresponsible receive an award, and they're expected to clap as they watch this person who causes sick often when they're not sick, go on multiple vacations, and they're usually sitting there wondering, how much vacation time do you have? How much sick time do you have? You're never here. But they have to sit at an award ceremony, expected to be at the ceremony, celebrating the person who's receiving an award for their work. For the behavior of calling in sick often when you're not sick, going on vacation after being off sick for a week, and greeting people who are pulling your weight with a hearty good morning when you come back. Work as hard as you expect others to work. Use sick days when you're sick. Spread your vacations throughout the year like you expect others to do. For the behavior of neglecting your job duties and calling a staff meeting to berate everyone for the problems that occurred due to your neglect, do your job. Acknowledge and reward people for assisting you when you need assistance with your work. People who are appreciated, who are acknowledged, who are rewarded for going over and above, they will do way more than they're being paid for if they're being treated with dignity and respect. So that